another episode of Moving Women Forward Community Podcast. So, for those who don't know, or hopefully you know who I am, I have one simple mission to help 100 women in 100 days. Move from feeling stuck to empowered by amplifying your voices through expert led support and strategic accountability groups. Visibility, opportunity, and why not meaningful networking? I always say meaningful networking is not a cliche word, it's something that builds partnerships, is the way to go and have your community around you and your business and support as many women in this case as many as you can. Right. So without further ado, today we have a special guest logging in from Manchester, if I'm not wrong. But
Yes.
Nikki, you will correct me with everything else, or you will also tell us a bit more what you do, what inspired you to do what you do, and a bit more about yourself and your journey, really. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm Nicky Wake. I'm the founder of something called the Widowed Collective. So sadly, I was widowed back in 2020. My husband actually fell ill in 2017 and had a heart attack, which resulted in a catastrophic brain injury. So he was in a nursing home, completely, profoundly disabled for 3 years, with no hope of recovery, no positive prognosis. I knew I was going to lose him. I just didn't know when. So I was kind of emotionally widowed in 2017, but technically I lost him to COVID in 2020. And obviously my world literally fell apart. Up until that point, I was living my best life, flying around the world, running an events company, um, wearing posh frocks, delivering award shows, having a wonderful life. Me and Andy were blissfully happily married. We were soulmates, and we had a then 11-year-old son. So my world utterly crumbled. And when I became widowed, I became a member of this club that literally nobody wants to join. And the only thing that kept me sane through that process was I got some counseling. And the counselor signposted me to an incredible charity called Widowed and Young. And through Widowed and Young, they help widows who are widowed under the age of 51. At that point, I was 49, so I qualified. And I met an amazing network of widows who I became to call my widow warriors. So they were people who understood what I was going through. And you assume that when a gang of widows get together, right, it's a really depressing time, and we're all drinking into our gin and crying and sobbing, and that's not the case at all, because as widows, we know to live for the moment. So until you've been on a dance floor with 50 widows, you've not lived. And I love this. The collective term for a bunch of widows is an ambush. I think that's kind of cute. Um, and so I found this network of widow warriors. I then had the inspirational idea to set up a dating app for widows and widowers who wanted to try again, called Chapter 2 Dating.app. So I built this amazing database of widows and widowers all over the UK and help people find love. And we've had a huge success through the app. But I wanted to do something more than that. So I knew that obviously it was great to help widows and widowers who were ready to move forward through dating. But there are a whole section of widows, particularly those who were newly widowed, who needed help. And they couldn't access the services of Widowed and Young because they were older than 51. Now, 52 is still incredibly young to be married. And actually, if you're widowed, it doesn't matter if you're 90 or if you're 34. It's still absolutely devastating to lose the love of your life. I mean, arguably, if you lose your soulmate at 90, yes, you've had all those wonderful years together, but that grief and that separation could be even more compounded than that of someone younger. So why wasn't there anywhere for these people to get help? And I looked, and there wasn't in the UK a national charity for widowed people. And I thought, this is crazy. Now I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've created multiple businesses. I'm great at building communities. And I thought, you know what? I can do something here. I can make a difference. So I decided to launch a CIC not-for-profit company, because I'm not doing this for profit. I'm doing it literally because I genuinely, passionately believe that widows, who are some of the most isolated communities there are, need connection, need help, and need support. So a few months ago, I got together with a couple of other widows that I know and said, I'm going to launch this thing. And so we launched the Widow Collective a few months ago. We've got over 1,000 members already in the UK. It is completely free to join because we believe that as widows and widowers, you've paid the ultimate price for membership. You've lost your life partner. We're not going to charge you to join us. You can sign up for free. Yes, you can donate if you like. We are a not for profit. We do have running costs to cover. So if you do join and you can afford to give a little, we'll be grateful for that, but we certainly don't ask for it. And if you sign up, you can then access our forum. You can chat to other widows across the UK or in your area, or other widows in specific interest groups or situations. So we'll have sector groups for people who were widowed by suicide, for example. We will have a separate group for people who are widowed with children, people who are widowed without children, people who are widowed and dating. So whichever stage in your widowed journey you are, be that, freshly widowed, i.e., heading home from the undertakers, quite literally, with a leaflet in hand, we're here to help. But if you're 10 years into your journey and you feel that you've got something to give back to the widow community and you want to help others, then this is the place for you. I think there's something for everybody, wherever they're on in their journey, whatever age they are. And when we say widow, we mean man or woman. We mean regardless of whether you married. If you've lost your soulmate, you're widowed. There is no doubt about that. And regardless of gender or sexual preference or any of those things, we're here to help. And we have our online forum. We have a WhatsApp group. Um, we have weekly meetings. So they happen every Monday at 7 o'clock on Zoom. You can get the link on our website. You just need to dial in and you can either just listen or you can talk and you can contribute. Whatever makes sense for you at that point of how you want to engage. And we're also hosting from January monthly meetups, initially in Manchester and London, but I'm hoping and looking for advocates to host local meetings in their towns. And they can be coffee mornings, they could be a walk, they could be a yoga session, they can be a sound bath, they can be anything anyone wants to do. They can be a night out to a gig or a concert. We want widows to come together and be united by this terrible loss, to create connection, to create community, to create support. There are also loads of valuable resources on our website. So there's loads of really practical information about financial help you can get when you're widowed, emotional support for your grieving children, links to other charities, links to podcasts, links to books, resources, things that I found helpful in my widow journey. And I just want to create this wonderful, supportive, non-judgmental, inclusive space for anyone who's going through the terrible burden that is widowhood and
Amazing.
loss.
Very, 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 very powerful, Nikki. I understand. I try to understand where you're coming from, so where you've been and what has happened around you. But I want also to understand a little bit. Um, so the shift, the moment that everything changed, the moment that you saw that the reality of for many, let's say, I'm not gonna mention women in this case because we're talking about communities, so it's moving women forward community. So it's about women-led support communities. What is the moment? What is the way? What is one of the key ways to help these women find their footage after everything has shifted, everything has changed, has taken a different direction in their life?
For me, the connection is key. Widowhood is the most isolating thing. All of a sudden, when you're widowed, every single aspect of your life changes in a heartbeat, right? Literally in a heartbeat. So when I lost Andy, my future changed. I planned my round the world cruise with him, my retirement. We were going to see our son graduate from university. We were going to travel together. We had joint savings we were going to spend together. My finances changed overnight. The dinners I cooked changed overnight. My friendship groups changed overnight. We used to socialize with couples in groups. They no longer knew where to place me around a dinner table because I was on my own. You know, my job changed overnight because I went from being a working mum to a solo parent and having to run a business that was jointly owned and was now just me. I literally every aspect of my life changed. The way I holiday changed. You know, my the books I read, the TV I watch, every single bit of my life changed overnight. And I think widowhood is the most isolating thing that can happen to you because you no longer feel like you're part of the world that you did exist in. And and so for me, the moving forward moment is the moment of impact of when that happens. And then when you accept that, well, you will never fully accept that change. But when you come to live with that change, it's then having the courage to find help and to find support and to meet a community and find a way to move forward. We always say as
Amazing.
widows, you don't move on, you move forward.
That's a very different situation. So I don't have words really in
Oh,
this. It's one of those episodes when you don't find the words,
mm.
because I don't think the pain you go through, and I don't think that um, goes away really.
No,
Um,
no, no. It doesn't. Time does heal. It's not. I'm not. You find a way to live with it. I describe grief as kind of at the beginning it's a huge rock that you carry with you, and then I'm kind of technically 8 years into being widowed because I lost Andy the day he fell ill. Really, I never had a meaningful conversation with him from that point forward. So I consider myself 8 years into this journey, and it's a pebble I carry around in my pocket. So it has changed me. It's fundamentally changed me as a woman. It has changed every aspect of my life. I'm living a very different life than the one I would have if Andy was alive. It's a real sliding doors moment. Um, but you do learn to live with it. So to anyone who's newly widowed, have solace that it does get easier in time, but to be kind to yourself and to take literally every day, every moment, every second if you need to at a time, and to lean into the widow community because through there you will find incredible stories of strength, of resilience, tools for support, tools for survival, and an incredible amount of a knowledge of people who've been where you have and may be able to shortcut some of that pain for you.
I understand from what you're talking, from what you're describing. It feels lonely, so it's a
Oh, it's
lonely place.
incredibly lonely. Yeah, you don't have, that the emptiness and the void of Andy not being in our home. I still feel today. It still resonates. I come home after a long day and I want to talk to him. The one person I want to share with Finn, my son, does brilliantly at college and is about to get into university. I want to share that with Andy. And he's going to miss seeing his son do that. And that's just heartbreaking. So yeah, it's utterly lonely. And that's where I think the power and the connection of the community is critical. And that's what we are. We become, as widows and widowers, each other's new adopted family. One of my best friends, a lady I would consider possibly my best friend, I met through Widowed and Young. We holiday together with our kids all the time. I see her or speak to her every single week. You know, we went for a holiday to the Maldives together on our own. It was like a honeymoon for our friendship. It's it's that power of connection that's kept me sane, and I think through the power of the Widow Collective, I can bring a little bit of that to life.
Now, I've noticed obviously there's no comparison to your collective and to your community. These are different, different situations, different moments in life. But I've noticed that um, I think mostly women, we have a little bit of the thing that we don't want to share. We feel we have the burden on our shoulders. We feel that um, others are doing a bit better. Now, regardless of the situation, I know this again, there's no comparison with your situation and your collective, but is it something that we are prone to keeping to ourselves? So we hold everything to ourselves, mostly.
I mean, I'll be honest. I think women are much better at sharing than men. We see that within the Widow Collective. I think as women, we are more open and we are more likely to share and to talk and to express our emotion. I think some of the more um, worrying moments when I speak with members of the Widow Collective are with the gentlemen in the group, because they are terrified to open up and to show um, what could be conceived as weakness, but isn't. It's just sharing pain. So I think women are. It's a terrible generalization, but more supportive than that of men, or that's certainly my experience within the Widow Collective.
I understand. Well, thank you for that. Now, Nikki, you mentioned, so I got stuck to a keyword there, 1,000 members. This is amazing.
Yeah,
It's across
within
UK.
literally we've been 6 weeks. So yeah, I'm blown away by my. I have an app on my phone, and it flashes every time we get a new member. And yesterday it was like ding 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 ding,
Fantastic.
um, because we're doing this huge round of press and PR. After this, I'm going to be on BBC Radio Manchester. My PR people are doing a great job, and we are free to join. So I would urge anyone who knows anyone who's widowed to join up, completely free of charge, at thewidowedcollective.com.
Amazing. But Nikki, can you tell me a little bit? So there's 1,000 members and growing. That's amazing.
Yes.
Is there? So we talk. So the community, our community, is from comes from, members are from different backgrounds. It's a multicultural community. Do you notice any pattern in terms uh, of how what's the mindset within the members, how they face the challenges, and how they uh, are more keen to move forward or more open to discussing or sharing
It varies massively, because we have people of all ages, from early 30s up to 90s, and we have people at different stages in their journey. There are some people who were widowed 2 days ago. They can't even contemplate the concept of being able to move forward yet. Yet we have widows who are 10 years into their journey and ready to help others. So like anything, we're an inclusive community. There is no defining factor amongst the widow community. It very much depends on who they are, where they are, what their situation is in life, how they were widowed. Because how you were widowed, if you lose your husband or wife very suddenly to a heart attack, say, or a road accident, that's very different to as if you'd nursed somebody through Alzheimer's and you've lost them over a long time. That's a very different loss. It's the ultimate result is the aim, is the end is the same. But the experience, the lived experience of those two people is entirely different. And that's why we try and help people find people who are in similar situations so that they can support each other, because their stories will resonate with each other. There is no good way to be widowed, right? There is no bonus, prize here. No one's a winner. No, there's no competition here. We are all widowed. We've all suffered tragic loss, just in different ways. And the beauty of the strength of the collective is, as we grow, you will find somebody who has a story similar to yours that resonates with you, and find support there.
I'm short of words, definitely. Uh, so this is quite an emotional conversation, really, Nikki. Again, I'm not in your situation, but I can only imagine the journey and what how these members are trying to be introduced, or trying to move in life, to move with their life, and their families and everything else. Now, Nikki, I know you are building some 1,000 members. It's amazing. I know you are counting even as we speak. You might have others joining in. That's
Hmm.
amazing. I hope people who are listening from the audience are joining. No, not just because I wish they were in similar situation, but to see the amazing work, and why not support your community if they can. Uh, we are approaching the end of the conversation. I'd like to hear a bit more. If you are, I understand you're running many things within the community, but if you have any specific
Yep.
event coming up, or anything that you want the audience to join, and why not support your community in this case?
Great. Well, I would say the first call to action is to sign up to thewidowcollective.com. You can do that online, free of charge. Answer a simple questionnaire asking a few details. Give us as much little or detail as you like. From there, you can then join our Widow Collective weekly call that happens every single Monday in the UK at 7 p.m. and it's a Zoom call. You just literally get the link off the website and you can dial in. You can either choose to talk and contribute. I normally just host the call. It's a really casual call. We'll grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine or whatever it is that your tipple is at 7 o'clock at night, and we'll have a chat. And we might just do tonight, will probably just be an intros call because we're fairly new. Eventually, we will talk around specific subjects each week, and then we may end up splitting into regional groups depending on the size of the call. If you're newly widowed and you're not ready to talk, just log in, turn your camera off, and listen to the other voices of other people there. So that call to action to me really is sign up. You will join our newsletter. You'll get details of all events, etc. Use the resources on the website. But most of all, try and join our call 7 o'clock every Monday.
Amazing. Do you run also in-person gatherings, Nikki?
We do. The first one will be in January. We'll be announcing details of that later this week.
In Manchester?
In Manchester, and then we're doing London February.
Amazing. That would be great. Right. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Nikki.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for
Thank you
sharing
for having
such a
me.
difficult journey and your take and how you're
No
building your
problem.
community. It's amazing work. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Watch this space. We are having another episode next week with another guest. That's in the AI and tech space. That's a little a preview or whatever it is called. So yes, tune in next week, everybody. Thank you so much, Nikki. Speak soon.
See you soon.
Bye bye. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.